Welcome everyone. We're back to the usual, these amazing Reddit stories that I've managed to find. Now I have a question for you all. Have you ever wondered if you overreacted about a certain situation? Well, you'll be happy to know that there's a subreddit dedicated to exactly that. r/AmIOverreacting. As per usual, I didn't read through any of these before reading them to you guys, just kind of skimmed through them to see what the gist was, so I can be just as surprised as you are when we hear the end results. I think it's better that way, and you'll get a much more genuine reaction when I do my summaries at the end of the stories. So without further ado, let's get into some of these stories I picked out for us today. Number 1. Am I overreacting for breaking up with my girlfriend over a toilet plunger prank? Okay, this just happened 2 hours ago and I'm still fuming. Apparently on TikTok, the toilet plunger prank has been trending. It's where you ask your partner for help with a clogged toilet, and instead you actually put Nutella, water, and fart spray on a plunger and fling it on your partner. My girlfriend decided to do that prank on me, and normally I can take a joke. After she flung the toilet plunger contents on me, including in my mouth, I obviously died and went to hell, but she showed me a video she was making, and I was like, okay, it's just a prank. Fine, whatever. But then I asked her if she bought a new toilet plunger to do this prank, or if she at least washed it. But no, she took the regular toilet plunger we had to do this prank. Y'all, I'm so mad right now. She told me she's so sorry and everything. She forgot to buy a new toilet plunger for the prank. But that means I actually got feces in my mouth. I'm so unbelievably angry. I told her I'm done with her, and now she's pissed at me? Am I overreacting? We live together, so it's not going to be easy to just break up. Plus, telling all our friends and family we broke up because of a toilet plunger prank feels so childish, but I feel so disrespected. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely vile. You would think that before pulling this prank, you'd have the foresight to, actually go and buy a brand new plunger. But no, the girlfriend in the situation decided to use their old, dirty plunger to do this prank with. Aside from that just being absolutely disgusting, the poster could have gotten sick from this. And all for this dumb little prank that's trending on TikTok. In my opinion, I don't think the poster is overreacting at all. I think what he did is an appropriate response to having actual poop flung on you. But let me know what you guys think. Let's move on to number 2. Am I overreacting for kicking my brother-in-law out of my house and talking to the police about Grand Theft Auto charges? When I graduated high school, I also graduated with an associate's degree and received an academic scholarship to finish my bachelor's. My parents had saved for my college tuition, so since they no longer needed that money for the school, they bought me a car instead and helped me with a down payment on a house. The car was a 2000 Monte Carlo SS Pace Car Edition. It meant a lot to me. It wasn't your traditional sports car or anything, but again, I loved it and it was fun to drive. 2 years later, my dad got cancer, and I sold the car to help my family financially. I loved that car, but family came first. Recently, I finally found another one, basically brand new, only 4,000 miles on it. Still had plastic on parts of the interior. I had it shipped from Canada. I drove it exactly once. This past weekend, my wife and I were out of town. My brother-in-law is currently staying with us temporarily, which is already at a point of stress. Without my permission or knowledge, he allowed my niece and her boyfriend to take the car to prom. I didn't even know they were getting ready for prom at my house. The boyfriend wrecked it, totaled it. Now my wife thinks I should let it go and just accept the insurance payout because they're kids. The insurance has offered me quite a bit more than the KBB, but I am furious and honestly heartbroken. I genuinely cannot understand how someone thinks it's okay to hand over the keys to a car they do not own or have authorization to lend out to an 18-year-old kid for prom pictures and a joyride. To me, this wasn't an accident involving borrowed family transportation. This is more than just property. They knowingly took something that wasn't theirs without permission. That feels a lot closer to carelessness and theft than a simple mistake and a lapse in judgment. Am I overreacting against both the boyfriend and my brother-in-law? I am kicking him out of our house and have talked to detectives about Grand Theft Auto charges. Now, I'm going to have to side with the poster again on this one. This car was obviously something he cared deeply about. And the carelessness of the brother-in-law to not only just lend out the car, but to lend it out to inexperienced high schoolers, it just blows my mind. And I do agree with trying to press charges, but as I was reading through the comments, I saw somebody note that if he did decide to press charges, that he should be prepared for a nasty divorce. And I think that's a valid concern, considering that the wife seems to be taking the brother's side in all of this. But that's all I have to say on that matter, so let's move on to the next one. Am I overreacting? I blocked my friend for dating someone who is 18. Someone I've been friends with for a little under a year is about to be 40 years old, and she's dating an 18-year-old guy. I told her that 18-year-olds are basically kids at our age. She tried to justify it by saying, "I've always viewed him as a man." I was really grossed out when she said that, so I just blocked her number on all social media platforms. Apparently, she's never dated anyone close to her age. Edit. It seems like most of you agree that I am not overreacting. I really was second-guessing myself, because yes, 18 is legal, but it doesn't make it right in my opinion. I have asked many people I know IRL, and they all agreed that it is weird. Even the men I know. But I do live in a pretty conservative state, which is why I asked Reddit. I am sticking to my decision and keeping her out of my life. Update. Legally in our state, he can't buy tobacco or any smoking products till 21, same as alcohol. In my state, you can't even legally marry under the age of 19. It requires specific legal requirements or parental consent. He has not reached the legal age of majority in our state, meaning in the laws of our state, he is still a minor. However, him being 18 makes it fair game for people like her. Final answer before I turn off notifications for good. I am glad I blocked her. I could never be friends with someone who dates minors. I no longer feel guilty about just blocking her mid-conversation. I won't delete this post or anything in case some younger people read this. Maybe it could save a life. I understand humans are not perfect. I don't expect my friends and loved ones to be perfect, but I damn sure expect them not to date minors. Wow. I've always viewed him as a man. What do you mean by that? I feel like that comment alone gives enough evidence to suggest that this woman may have been talking to this guy before he turned 18. And while 18 is technically legal, if you're like 40 or something, I still feel like that's kind of weirdo behavior in my opinion. I feel like at that age you should be dating people that are in your age range. I'm gonna have to say the poster was not overreacting in this case. I think our friend was a weirdo. Definitely not somebody that you'd want to be friends with, but let's move on to the next one. Alright, this one's pretty short, but it gave me a little chortle, chuckle, giggle even. So let's take a look at it. Am I overreacting? This is how my boyfriend sleeps. And I'll put a little picture up of the picture they provided. Like a damn mummy completely wrapped up. I'm constantly worried that he's going to suffocate or something. He spends all night like this, sometimes even wrapping more than one blanket around his face. He says it feels nice. Not to mention how terrifying it is to randomly wake up in the middle of the night, look over and see that. Am I overreacting? He says I'm being dramatic. Now on this one I am going to say the poster is overreacting, and all the comments seem to be agreeing with me. I used to sleep exactly like this, because I don't know, it's just something about it so comfortable. I don't sleep like that anymore. I guess I just it just got better or something. I don't know. But I guess I really never looked at it from the perspective of a partner. I never really considered how terrifying it would be to like look over in the middle of the night and see that next to you. But whatever. Let's move on to the next one. Am I overreacting? A little kid keeps coming into my house, and the poster provided a picture, I'm assuming they captured from their security camera, of a kid like crawling through their doggy door or something. But here's the post. I live out in the country, near a big main road and on a county road. I'm the closest property to the main road, but as you continue down I have a couple of neighbors. We live on 40 acres and have a little farmhouse where I live with my husband and dogs, along with some farm animals outside. I do not have kids. We live a calm and peaceful life. However, there have now been 2 occasions on which a young child that lives a third of the mile down the road has come into our house uninvited. The first time I was home alone and had just showered, doing my nails and watching a show in my makeup room. Next thing I know, I see a small shadow that looked like a preschool-age kid open my fence gate and open my front door. I had no idea who this was, and I FaceTimed my husband in case he knew who this could be. But as we checked the cameras, there were no cars or other adults around. I was in my underwear with my door closed and freaking out. Like I mentioned, I live out in the country, and due to my neighbors all being so far away, had no idea who this kid was or where he came from. I put some pants on and went out into my living room. And this kid was running around my living room and kitchen, playing with my dogs with no worry in the world. I tried to get him to calm down and asked him what his name was or where his parents were, and nothing. He ignored me and kept playing. After a couple of minutes, I think he got bored, and he opened my door, went out the gate, and ran out to the back of my house. I lost sight of him and continued to look out towards the road in case I could figure out where he came from. Finally, I saw a young girl approaching from the neighbor's side of the road, and she shouted at me, "Where is he?" I told her I had no idea where he was, but that I had seen him go towards the back of my house, and she could go look for him. She looked annoyed, but I guess she was able to grab him at some point and took him back towards the direction our neighbor's house is. At that point, I had honestly been super upset and yelled, "Keep that kid out of my property and out of my house," to which she just yelled, "Sorry," over her shoulder. After that, no one ever came back to apologize. My husband eventually went to the family to ask what had happened, and was told that they had been unloading groceries, and the little boy managed to run away. How they didn't realize this until so much later, I'm not sure. Anyways, a year later, I would say this boy is 5 or 6 now. I get a call from my husband while we were at work. He tells me there is a little boy in our house, and that he came through our dog door. I immediately ask if it's the same one as last time. He says he saw him on our cameras, but he can't be sure. He tells me that before calling me, he already called the cops, but that they are on their way. The footage shows this kid opening our closed fence gate and coming to our front door. Our dogs are barking at him in the yard. He attempts to open the front door, sees it's locked, knocks, and then just sits there thinking. Then he crawls in through our dog door. Our dogs have the ability to go in and out of the house as they like since their fence is closed in, but I guess this kid just figured he could do the same. Anyway, he comes in and opens the dog door to make sure the dogs can come in too. He takes off his shoes when he comes in, and then he goes to jump onto my couch and play with my dog. After that, he turns on my TV, goes into my fridge, and grabs ice pops and eats an orange from our fruit basket. Huh? He is in our house unsupervised for a total of about 15 minutes until the cops arrive and are able to get him out. He crawled out through the dog door. The cops ask him his name, and he tells them. They ask who his parents are and where he lives, and he tells them that as well. The cops tell him he is not allowed to do this and that this is not his house. A couple of minutes later, a car pulls into my driveway. It's the parents. The cops talk to them for a bit, and they all leave. My husband had just left work to get home, but by the time he got here, everyone was gone. The cops pretty much just said that it was just a kid being a kid. My husband then went down to the neighbors and told the parents to take care of their kid. I was upset because he did wait for me to go talk to them. He knew how upset I was. The dad apologized and stated that the boy had been grounded and snuck out through his bedroom window. Apparently, he just likes to play with my dogs. The dad told the little boy to apologize to my husband. At this, the little boy spit at his dad. A week later, my husband got a call from the parents asking if by chance the kid was in our house again, because they could not find him. We were both at work but did not see him in any of our cameras. At this point, I've calmed down quite a bit, but as soon as I remember, I get quite mad. I think it is insanely upsetting that I am more aware of where this little boy is than his own parents are. Once again, he is not right next door to me. He had to be unsupervised for at least 30 minutes in order to make his way to my house, about a 5-minute walk, be here for 15 minutes, and have the cops get here until his parents found him. He knows what he is doing, the parents are aware, but no one truly takes accountability for it. The little boy says he likes to play with my dogs, but instead of playing with them in my yard, he comes into my house and makes himself at home. I feel bad for calling the cops, but I truly feel like there's a need to report this because I'm scared for my safety and that of my animals and property. If he were to leave the gate open, my dogs would definitely run out into the main road and get run over. My house is not child-proofed at all. We had a flamethrower on the kitchen table the day he came in. My husband had killed a spider outside with it. I am concerned for this little boy's safety, but at the same time, I do not want to be responsible or liable if anything were to happen to him in our property. I also would like to feel safe in my own home. I don't feel like I should be having to keep my dogs in a kennel all day and close their doggy door just because there is a kid out there who is not monitored and was never taught to respect other people's privacy. If he snuck out through his window, I'm sure he could sneak in through one as well. There's so many what-ifs in this situation, and it might just be my anxiety, but I'm definitely very upset. I guess this is more of a rant, and I just hope this doesn't happen again, because I do intend to have the cops on speed dial. But again, am I overreacting? Well, that story was very long and very wild. Not at all what I was expecting. I thought it was just going to be some funny little story about a kid sneaking in through a doggy door, but it seems there are much larger issues here. Like, for him to be disappearing for such large periods of time, the parents really have to be not paying attention to him very much at all. And it seems like they also aren't taking any accountability for it either. So the poster is definitely not overreacting on this one. But that's all the time we have for today. If you have any suggestions, put them in the comments. And as always, like the video if you like the video, subscribe, send it to your buddies, or don't. Later.